loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and today we are doing an extra special reading vlog because it's in collaboration with Lexie from Books with Lexie. I'm so freaking excited. Lexie and I are co-hosts for the Team Still Watchers in the Amazing Readathon as hosted by Brie. As a result, Lexie reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to take part in this video series that I've been doing, which is the Read and Taste Map. The way the series works, you recommend each other 3 books. 2 books you absolutely loved and 1 book you really didn't, to see do our read and taste match. I'm so excited and actually terrified because I don't know what she's gonna think of the books that I've recommended, and I'm not going to know the results of all of that until her video goes live. So I'm excited and nervous about all of this. I'm gonna have Lexie linked below. If you don't follow her already, you definitely should. And yeah, oh my god, I'm so excited. I have had Lexie's email with the book recommendations sit in for ages and I've not once opened the video, and I am so nervous. Not nervous like in a bad way, but just like I don't know what's going to be on it, and I'm so excited as well because Lexie reads a lot of books that I'm wanting to get into. So she reads a lot of horror, sci-fi, thrillers, which are things that I want to explore more. Preferably more horror and sci-fi. I just can't wait to see what she's recommended me. So I'm just going to get straight into the video. Let's do this. I'm so excited. What's it going to be?
I'm so excited to see how our reading taste lines up in these videos. I have 3 books for you to read. 2 I loved, 1 I did not.
I wonder if I can guess it. What one she didn't love. That would be interesting.
I truly cannot wait to see your thoughts on all of them. So the 3 books I have for you to read. First up is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim.
Yes! Oh my god. Okay, right. Oh my god, this is crazy timing. So, The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim is a book that I've been interested in reading for ages. Like, there's been so much hype around this book. I think I'm gonna go with Lexie also loved this one. But this is a book that I literally bought 2 days ago because on the first of every single month Kindle does their 99p deals, and The Eyes Are the Best Part were part of that. I straight downloaded it. I was like, yes, finally 99p, I'm gonna get this, try it, hopefully I love it, and now I get to read it like straight away. Yes. I'm so excited.
Whose family is going through some changes and her mom is not doing great, and to kind of appease her, she decides to eat the fish eyeball that her mom offers her, even though she does not want to. After she eats it, she develops this obsession with eyeballs. Next up, I have Rouge by Mona Awad. This is a woman whose mother has just died. And both
okay, yeah, I know, I keep stopping, I'm terrible, but Rouge, oh my god. Okay, so for those of you that have been on my channel for a while, you know that Bunny is a book that I really loved by Mona Awad. It's like such an amazing weird book, and since then Mona Awad has done a couple of books. We've had All's Well and Rouge, both books I've been meaning to read for a while, and Rouge is a book that I've had on my Kindle for ages. Really been meaning to pick this one up, just never done it. I think it's like that intimidation of I've already loved one book by this author, what if I don't love this one? And now I'm gonna find out.
Them are kind of into beauty and routines.
This is going so well.
And she finds that her mom was part of pretty much a cult surrounding beauty, and she decides to learn more about it to become closer to her mom.
Maybe Lexie didn't like this one, I'm not sure.
And third, I have Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson. This starts off following a woman who is leaving a party and ends up having the worst experience of her life in this farmhouse, but she doesn't talk about it after this. And then 2 decades later, we are following 2 women who are in college. They're developing a relationship, and one of them is trying to protect the other from her family. All 3 of these really deal with family dynamics.
I'm so excited.
And they're all going through very, very different things. I'm excited to see what you think of all of them.
I'm excited to see what I think.
I kind of hope you love them all, but if you hate any, I hope it's the one I didn't like. No pressure. No, I'm just kidding. I can't wait to see your thoughts, and I can't wait to buddy read Victorian Psycho with you. Thank you so much for doing this collab with me. I'm super excited.
Thank you for inviting me. Oh my god. Okay, so the last book, Knock Knock Open Wide, is also a book that I've been interested in reading. There was enough reviews on it. I think it was Gabby that also spoke about it and stuff that I was interested in it. 3 books that I am really excited about. 2 I already own on Kindle. This could not be better. I am so excited. Okay, what one do I think that Lexie didn't like? I know for sure, or at least I feel very confident that she loved The Eyes Are the Best Part. So I guess it's a choice between Rouge or Knock Knock Open Wide. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I'll wait till I'm reading them. But I guess without going into it, I would say maybe Rouge. Maybe that one that she didn't love. I don't know. I could be completely off with that. But as Lexie did mention, we are also buddy reading Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fito together. And I'm so excited for this one as well. So this one is a book that's been going around a lot. I've seen a lot of people really enjoy this one. It's had really good reviews. And we're following this manor house governess who, you know, is trying to be the perfect Victorian governess. However, those intrusive thoughts, they may be getting the best of her. So I'm really excited to be reading this one, and hopefully this is one that we both like as well. So yeah, that is going to be the TBR. I don't know which one to start off with. I guess I'll start with one of the Kindle books I already own. Could go with Rouge, or I could go with The Eyes Are the Best Part. I know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna put a poll up on my Patreon. We're gonna see what one they vote on. I'm gonna give it like 24 hours. I am so excited. I don't think, you know what? I think I might do emojis again. I like doing that on Patreon. Every so often I'll get them to vote with emojis, not the title names. This thing gets more fun. Anyway, right, I'm so excited. I hope you enjoy this video. I know it's a bit of a long intro, but yeah, we have 4 books to read for this reading vlog, so I better get cracking. Has been so frustrating to film. It's one of those days, I really don't get them often, but every so often I will get a day where I just feel like I'm not filming great, like it's just not going well. The lighting is bothering me and my words aren't coming out, and I feel like I'm not explaining things the way I want to explain them, and my hair's annoying me because I need to cut my fringe, and it's just one of those days where I'm just like, nothing really feels right. But I do actually want to film this update today because I made a start on the book, and I know I'm planning to read probably more of this one tomorrow. I don't know, actually, maybe I can swap, but I want to do an update now, and tomorrow after work I'm busy. So by the time I would have time to film another update, I probably would have read a lot further into the book, and I want to do the update now because I like in this book. So we're just going to get on with it, and I'm just going to have to suck it up and realise that all of these problems are fine. It's just because I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning and I'm tired. None of this is actually a problem. So I'm just gonna, like, you know, put my big girl pants on and get on with it. So the book that won the poll is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim, and I feel like the emoji that I used for it was pretty obvious as to what book that was going to be because of the eyeball and the ramen noodle, because there is a special edition, I think it's an Evernight edition of this book, that literally has an image of a woman eating a bowl of eyes with some noodles hanging out. So I feel like it's pretty obvious, especially because this book has been popular, like it's been doing the rounds on Book Talk and Instagram and things like that, and for good reason, because I am now up to chapter 19, page 86. The Kindle feels telling me I'm 32% of the way through the book, and I am really liking this one. I'm finding there's a lot to this book. Like, I feel like I should have expected that, but also I'm connecting to it a lot more than what I thought. So initially when going into this book, I thought I'd like it because I'm enjoying horror books. I'm weirdly enjoying cannibal books, which we know this is where this is going. I didn't expect to also connect to it on a more emotional level because we're following Jinwoo, and Jinwoo is dealing with the fact that her father has left her mum, and this has happened not that long ago, and we're dealing with the after effects of that, how her mum is just in pieces, and Jinwoo is now having to try and basically parent her mum, and how difficult that is. And it's such a difficult situation. She's got a younger sister as well, and she's trying to reassure her younger sister, deal with her mum, and at the same time she's still dealing with the fact that her dad's also left her. Such a difficult situation, and I guess I just wasn't, like, I knew that's what the story was, but I hadn't really pieced together how it was all going to translate, and I think it is done really well. I actually think it's balancing it very well, and seeing those conflicted feelings in Jinwoo is really understandable. Also, on top of all of that, Jinwoo is at university, and she's also dealing with the fact that she is at university and all the things that come with that. Some of the stuff she's dealing with is, there was this one scene of these group of guys that are joking around and making really inappropriate comments about Asian girls, and she stood right behind them, and she knows it wasn't necessarily directed at her, but those comments made her really uncomfortable. And it's like scenes like that in this book where everything, Jinwoo just feels like everything around her is just wrong. You feel that. Like, I feel like the tension, the atmosphere in this book is subtle, but it's there, and it makes everything feel not right in this book. And then things start developing, so we get introduced to Jinwoo's mum's new boyfriend and how he is just gross, and you have their first interaction where her mum's like, come on, we're all gonna go out for dinner, and that whole thing, feeling so uncomfortable by this guy, but they can't talk to their mum about it, having that whole situation that she's now dealing with at home. And she has this friend that she's made at university, but I can see how that, I feel like there's undertones already for that to end up quite toxic, so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. It just feels like everything in Jinwoo's life just feels toxic. You know, you really feel for her in having to deal with all of that. But I just read a chapter where we got an insight into Jinwoo, and I'm like, actually, maybe there's some things that you're also doing that is not right. And it's not even a maybe, like, what she did is wrong. The reason why she did it is just the most petty, horrible, toxic thing to do to supposed friend. I don't know, it's interesting. I'm intrigued by her as a character. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this is going. I'm liking the nightmares, and also just the visceral details on eating eyeballs and how gross that is. And some of those descriptions, I was like, gross. I'm like literally at work trying to eat, and I'm like, no, wrong time to be eating. Wrong time, because yeah, that was disgusting. Having a description on how the eyeball popped, ugh, because it's a fish eyeball, just to clarify, fish eyeball. She eats a fish eyeball because her mum's obsessed, selling that the eyes are the best part of the fish and all of this. And so to make her mum happy, she eats the eyeball of the fish even though she doesn't want to. And so you get this really descriptive part about her eating this eyeball, and oh my god, that is disgusting. And then after eating this eyeball, this is where all these things are happening. And yeah, it's good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking some of like the stuff that they're dealing with. Her parents from Korea and her sister are Korean American, and dealing with the fact that, you know, trying to fit in, especially like their dad was more obsessed with fitting into American culture. I'm just enjoying it. I think it's really interesting, really good. There's so much tension. The new guy that's in the picture, George, he is a massive walking red flag. Like, he is horrible. I'm really intrigued to see how all of this is going to go. How far are we going to go in this book? Like, I really am enjoying it. Like, the writing style was super easy to read. I think currently it's sitting at like a 4.25. I am enjoying it. It definitely has potential to get higher. As a first impressions to this book, it's good, easy to read. I am invested. It is disgusting. There is so much tension and toxicity, and I just cannot wait to see where it's going to go. Yeah, that is where we're at. I think right now I'm just going to go chill. I'm thinking maybe do a hot drink, maybe a cup of tea actually. Got a little bit of editing to do, and then I can just chill out. I did get some Lego Animal Crossing Lego, as you would have seen in the B-roll. I've got it sat on my little book light, and it's so cute and I love it. So I now have that. Will I get more? Potentially, because it was actually quite fun. And I don't mind like smaller little things because they're quite nice to decorate the shelves with. Okay, anyway, right, I'm rambling on, which is hilarious considering I started this update with going, oh, I'm not feeling like filming, and now I can't stop talking. I will check back in probably when I've finished this book. Part of me is a little bit terrified because I'm like, if we're getting that disgusting about fish eyes, where is this gonna go? Like, since I finished The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim, and you know what, I liked it. I enjoyed this one. I can really see why it's been doing the rounds, why so many people have really enjoyed this one, why it was recommended as well, because I do think this was really good. Some of those descriptions about eyes and stuff, gross, absolute gross, as I've already mentioned, and that continues throughout the book. It also has a slight fever dream-esque to it. There are some moments where you can't tell what's real or not, and I like that. I think the story overall, the way it went, there were some twists and turns that it took, which I really appreciated. There was one moment where I was a bit scared and I was like, please don't end in this way. Don't let this be the thing, because if it's the thing, I'm going to be really disappointed, and I'm keeping it really vague because obviously I don't want to give away spoilers. Thankfully, it was not the thing, and I was so like, yes, great. And when we actually got the very end of the book, I was like, oh, now I kind of want to reread this book to see, can I pick up on these things? And so for that, I really liked it. Like, I did think it was really good. There is something stopping me from giving this like a full 5 stars. I think I'm more comfortable with it being a high 4 stars, so like a 4.25 rating. That's where I'm thinking it's gonna be. It was really good. I liked the themes that it explored. Our main character, Ji Woo. So in the book, it's written as Ji-won. So for me, that would be G1. However, I know that's not correct because it's literally mentioned how the mum's new boyfriend says that and gets corrected because that's not the correct way to say that, and that it's actually pronounced with a UH sound instead, so an sound, except I can't. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. I haven't listened to this on audiobook, so I can't say it correctly, and honestly, Google, I don't really trust Google pronunciations, to be fair. So apologies, I've probably been butchering the name. I really do apologise. So our main character, like the things that she's dealing with, the fact that she's got this whole situation with her mum and now this new boyfriend who is honestly a massive red flag, dealing with college, it's college not university, and new friends, but also some of the things that she did with her past friends, and just how she is as a character, I do really like. Definitely something that I think some of the actions she did, it's definitely a book where you're like supporting women's wrongs here, because some of those actions are just wrong. As much as you can kind of understand her thinking, there is still a lot of it where you're like, this, you still should not be doing this. But I liked it. It was really good. I liked how I couldn't always trust our narrator. I liked how some of it did seem, like I already mentioned, that fever dream-esque where you're just like, what's real, what isn't. I enjoyed all of that. I thought it was really well done, very interesting. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this one. So thank you so much, Lexie, for recommending me this one. I mean, it's one that, as I already mentioned, I was really interested in anyway, and it did live up to what I wanted it to, which was really good. I do think this is going to be a book that upon reread I prefer. I think because I'll be able to pick up that, knowing the ending now, I will then go in looking for certain things, and if I can find them, and that reading experience is just going to be amazing. Don't read while eating. Don't do that with this book. Just don't. It's not a good idea. But okay, I have moved on to the next couple of books. So The Eyes Are the Best Part. Did I submit that for the Amazing Readathon prompt? I feel like I did. Oh yeah, I submitted this one for The Shire, which was to read a comforting, cozy book, which it isn't, but I used a power up so that it didn't matter and I could submit it for that anyway. But yeah, I mean, Eating Eyes, I wouldn't say is comforting or cozy, but there we are. So yeah, so now we're going to move on to these two books, which this one you don't know what it is. This is Rouge by Mona Awad. So I started this one today. I'm a bit bored. Now I'm going to persevere because I felt that way a little bit with Bunny the first time I read it. It took me rereading the book to really like it and appreciate it. The first time I read it, I DNF, and I am bored of this book so much. I have read 90 pages. I'm actually in the middle of a chapter. I'm in the middle of chapter 8. It's interesting, but it's also a bit boring. So we're following Belle. At the very start of this book, we understand that Belle's got this very weird relationship with her mum, but also with beauty standards, skincare, things like that. So she is obsessed with skincare. She will talk to you, and there are paragraphs of just listing off different things that she's using on her face that she has as part of this routine. She's obsessed with it all, and so was her mum. Like youth, beauty, things like this, it was very obsessed over. But where we are in this book, her mum has recently died, so she's gone back to her mum's house and dealing with things from the funeral. And the bit where I just read was very kind of fever dream-esque again, really kind of weird, kind of what I expect from Mona Awad's writing. And I did like those bits because it kind of moved on a little bit from just listing face products to actually having the plot line, something interesting happen. So I'm hoping that in the next, I'm going to give it another 90 to 100 pages, that it's then going to grip me and intrigue me. But so far it was a bit of a slow start. Like there was just so much focus on different beauty products and the different system that she has for it, and also Tom Cruise is mentioned a lot, and I'm like, but why? It's okay, it's not bad, it's just I'm finding it boring. So currently I'd give this maybe like a 2.75 at the minute. I have a feeling upon reading this that I think this was Lexie's most disliked book as well. I'm gonna say out of the ones she recommended that would be the one that she's given the lowest rating, just because it does seem quite dry and boring in places. Like I thought I would really like this one because I am interested in things like how the beauty standards industry, how it has such an impact on things. I use my sun cream every day. I mean, I am really pale, so I have to because I burn really easily. I do look after my skin, like I do think it is important, but to see the extreme side of it and how it can get pushed to extremes. So I thought this would be an interesting discussion to read about. However, I'm just kind of finding it a little bit boring, and I don't think I have connected to Belle as a character yet. I will say the prologue I really enjoyed. I actually really liked that prologue, and then it changed and we're following Belle, and I don't know how I feel about Belle. So we'll see how it goes. I feel like Belle has some connections to the main character from Bunny, so I am trusting in Mona Awad that it's going to end up being a good book, that is going to end up gripping me because I enjoyed Bunny. And I am remembering that it was a little bit of a difficult one for me to get into, as in the first time round I read it. The second time around I loved it, but I knew what to expect. So I'm just hoping that it's the same with this one. So I'm going to give it another 100 pages and then I'll update you as to what I'm going to do with this book, because it's like 370-ish pages. So I think if I give it another 100, I'm halfway through, and if I'm still just not interested, then I may just put this one down. We'll see though, because I don't really want to DNF. I haven't actually DNF'd much this month, which is great. We'll see. In more positive news, I have started Victorian Psycho by Readingearthnymph, and I'm loving this. I'm only 30 pages in. I am up to chapter 4. And this is really good. Okay, so there's a few things. So first of all, the setup is like a classic book. It's broken down into parts. We have images like this, which really reminds me of a Charles Dickens book. I feel like I've definitely read a Charles Dickens book where we had imagery like this, and it was like of a illustration that is to do with what's happening in the scene. And then at the start of each chapter, we get like a little subheading to tell us what to expect from this chapter. I really like it. We also get a moment where our main character Winifred talks directly to us, the reader, which is something that like Jane Eyre did right at the end, and I love it. Okay, there are lots of little connections that I am seeing to other Gothic classics in terms of the writing style that I'm really liking. Although I will say, when I first started this, the first page, the second paragraph, I was a bit like, that is a choice that I'm not sure I agree with in terms of writing style, because we're talking about how Winifred, not the first page, I have to say chapter 1, because of the prologue I loved. The prologue's like going, death is everywhere. It's very dramatic, really loved it, thought it was great. But then when you're actually in chapter 1, the second paragraph, where Winifred is going to Ensor House and she's traveling in this carriage, and there is literally a bit that talks about how her breasts are jiggling in her corset, and I was like, but why? But then as it continues on, actually it's kind of just how Winifred is. She's quite a vulgar person to follow. Not that that's vulgar, it's just I just wouldn't choose that as a wording choice. It kind of just threw me off guard. But there are moments in the book that goes on where she's just very honest, kind of blunt about things. It's not really vulgar, but it's just like, I guess I was expecting more Victorian sensibilities, and it's kind of like yes, but also no. We're doing it without any filter. There is no filter, so we're gonna have things happen where you're just like, okay, didn't need to know that much, but cool. I'm explaining this in a really weird way, but there will just be moments where certain things, like she's very to the point, like when she meets the, I think, is it the cook or the mistress? Hang on. Mrs. Abel, who is the housekeeper, and her summary of Mrs. Abel is, Mrs. Abel, I muse, is a woman who has never held a penis. And that's what I mean, like you get lots of comments like that, which were, honestly, now that I'm used to it, I'm like, it just is who Winifred is. She has no filter, and those are the intrusive thoughts, and we get to hear all of them because we're in her head. I like it. It's a lot more direct than what I was expecting, but that's not a bad thing. Like, I'm kind of intrigued. Also, we do get told right in that very first chapter, on the 3rd page of chapter 1, how it is early fall, the cold is beginning to descend, and in 3 months everyone in this house will be dead. We get told that straight away. So we're literally reading the story of what happened, what is the build up to those events, and so far this has got so much unease. Like, I am reading this and I feel uneasy. I'm really enjoying it. I am immediately captured. I'm going to be reading this one today. I'm putting Rouge down now that I'm home. I'm just going to focus on this because I'm enjoying it so much. This is not going to take me long to read. It's a really short book. It's less than 200 pages, but it's so good. Like, it's so well done. So yeah, I'm loving it. I think it's really good. There is so much of things of interest that are happening, but things are dark as well. But it's all insinuated. There's nothing that's been said outright, but the insinuations are there. So it's dark. I'm expecting it to get dark. I'm expecting this to get really twisted. There are moments how Winifred talks about her soul and how it's this dark, monstrous, sludgy thing that is inside her, and I just love it. I love all of these different descriptions. I cannot wait to see where this is going. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, really liking this one. This is really interesting to me because this is a book that when it first came out, I was super intrigued by because I loved this cover. I really liked the title, like everything about it was gripping me. Then I picked it up in the shop and it said Christmas, and so I put it back down. So I was like, okay. Also, Victorian set. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one. Maybe it's not quite what I think it's going to be. Set around Christmas. If anything, I'll pick it up closer to Christmas time. Then I was hearing loads of reviews. The things people were saying, like people recommended this one to me a few times. Like I was getting really good reviews. And then of course Lexie suggested it for the buddy read, and I was like, clearly this is a sign that this is a book I need to be reading sooner rather than later, and I'm so pleased that I am because this is really good. I would say currently where I am, I'd be giving this a solid 4 to 4.25 already because I really like it. This is great. I cannot wait to continue. I am going to read more today when I've done the editing that I need to do, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to read more. I have no idea what either Rouge or Victorian Psycho are going to be for prompts for the Amazing Readathon. We're still on the previous prompt that I already fulfilled, so we're just waiting to see what it's going to be. I think what I'll probably do is use Rouge for whatever prompt we get, as long as I don't DNF it. You can count it for the Amazing Readathon if you've read 50%, but then you can only count those pages that you've read. You can't count the whole book, which makes sense. So we'll see, but I'm thinking hopefully whatever the prompt is, it works for Rouge because that has the more pages, and then use this one for a sightseeing prompt. I think that works out better because I can go for one of the higher sightseeing prompts at like 250 points, which is more than what this book would give me. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see how it turns out. But the last bit of B-roll you saw was me going to the CD store. Of course, I absolutely love it. I'm limiting myself to just popping by once a month and seeing what they've got. I got a couple more classical music. So we have the Mozart Experience, because this was only 50p, so I was very happy with that. They have this whole like bargain reduced bit, so I had a little flick through there. 50p, was very happy. I also got Swan Lake and Sleeping Beauty by Tchaikovsky, and I love this. I've listened to it already. Absolutely love it. I love the Swan Lake, the music to it, gorgeous. And then I also got an album by Lana Del Rey, and this one is Born to Die, the Paradise edition, and that's good. I'm enjoying it. Oh, also bit of book mail. I've got my book Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson ready for this. I think this is going to be, well, it's going to be the last book that I read in this video. That is all the progress. I'm really enjoying the book so far. The only one that's a bit of a letdown is Rouge, but fingers crossed it picks up, and the next update will be a little bit more like, yeah, it's really good and I'm really into it, but we'll see. But yeah, right, okay, I have been talking for ages, so I'm gonna go leave you in peace and I'll be back with some more updates. In the exact same place as yesterday. We're on the floor, sat in front of my bookshelves, this time with the addition of some coffee because god am I tired today. I'm so tired. I slept so badly last night. So many things I need to do today. I've got this to film, which is my summer TBR. I want to get that filmed, need to get that ready by the end of this week. I think this is out before this video. So, you know, I've got to get that done. And then I've also got to finish editing last week's vlog. I need to get that done today and uploaded. And I also just want to have a shower and chill, and I'm tired. So coffee is the only answer today. I blame my partner for this as well because he got me back into this when we were in Thailand. I'm not having it every day, which is good, like how I was like 2 years ago. I was really heavily into my coffee and couldn't go a day without having it because I'd get headaches and stuff. Thankfully, I'm not like that now. So it's kind of like a every few days occurrence, which is a good thing because god is it bloody expensive. Like, it's so expensive and I can't make this myself. Admittedly, have I tried? No. Do I want to go down that rabbit hole? Also no. And you know, why am I going on about coffee when this is a reading channel? Because I'm just that tired. So bear with me for this update because it's not going well. So we've got Rouge and I want a DNF. Like a lot. It's just so bad. Like, okay, that's the wrong word. I just don't care is the word for that one. I really don't care. Like, I was trying to read it. It was the only thing I was letting myself read when I'm at work, like on my lunch break and stuff, and I just don't care. I'm really struggling with this one. So I did say yesterday I'm gonna try another 90 pages and see, did I get to those 90 pages? No, I did get to page 177. However, did I read all of those? No, because I just kind of started giving up. Also, if you hear weird noises, my cat is here and she's, I don't know, being weird. Yeah, I ended up just going through pages and I started reading like a couple lines and I was like, okay, this is boring, let's skip to the next page. Read a couple lines further, is there anything interesting? No, oh great, so we're gonna skip again. And don't get me wrong, there's been some points which have been a little bit interesting, but overall, I just have not cared. Because basically, this is a book about somebody that's lost her mum. She was very jealous of her mum constantly. She's got this very warped perception of beauty, really does assess those beauty standards. We've got someone that is part Egyptian, and so she's got more olive toned skin and her hair is more frizzy and things like this, whereas her mum has got red hair, green eyes, porcelain white skin, and so she has just grown up her whole life believing that to be pretty you need to be either blonde haired, blue eyed, or red hair with green eyes but white. She has then spent so much of her time buying into these different products and stuff to give herself a glowy skin and things like this, and again, like I said yesterday, looking after your skin is good. Doing it to the point where it's becoming a toxic trait and you're buying into all of these things about youthfulness and all of that, like, that's where it's wrong. That is where I can say women have been targeted by beauty industry to constantly be looking for better things, to look younger, to look more this. Like, aging gracefully is not a known thing anymore. Our main character, Belle, she's really bought hard into that, and she spends so much of her time watching these videos, doing all these crazy routines scenes and stuff, and so much of the book is around that, and I'm just like, I just don't care. And then we started getting to some of the weird stuff, and it involves like jellyfish, and alright, cool, that's kind of interesting. I was actually kind of interested in that. I read that whole bit about the jellyfish and the whole treatment and what it is, and then we go back and I'm just like, but I just don't care about you. I want to know what's going on with this cult. So it is a cult that's going on, but I want to know the details of that. I want to know what's going on with this treatment, like what actually happens and stuff. And I would say the majority of this book is just following Belle as she struggles and reflects on her childhood of what is beauty and how much she really dislikes how she looks and things like this. And I'm like, fine, but it's just not what I want to be reading. So I'm really struggling with this. Like, I know some people have absolutely loved it, but I just don't care, and I feel really bad because it's not like I don't like the writing, because the writing is fine, but I mean there's traits of it where it's like some bits of it are really interesting, but I think that the problem is I just don't care about this character, not in the slightest. They're not keeping me hooked in a way that I can go, oh my god, you are a horrible, detestable character, but I'm also so intrigued to see what you're going to do next. Or someone that I can be like, oh, I absolutely love you, and I'm like so invested. Like, I just don't care. And so therefore when we get those parts where it's just all of these inner monologues and stuff, like, I just don't care. I'm being a bit more brutal about it, and honestly editing me is going to be like, girl, you should have calmed down because it's not that deep. It's because I'm tired. Yeah, when I'm tired I'm just a little bit ruthless, and I'm just like, you know what, you're not interested in me. I'm tired and you're putting me to sleep. Like, I just couldn't do it. I don't want to do it. Again, I just don't want to. So I'm sorry, Lexie. I'm really hoping this is the book that you also didn't like, so at least we align in that. But yeah, I just can't. It's just... And the thing is, like I said yesterday, like, I'm like, oh, what if I push through to the end? And what if I really love it? So I did. I actually went and read the last couple of chapters of the book. Couldn't care less. I know how it ends. I don't care how it got there. It's not like what it did with Bunny, where I was like, wow, that's awesome, and then saw the book in a whole new light. Just wasn't that way at all. To me, this was just like a really bad version of Bunny, because we've got this girl that's a little bit lost, wants so desperately to fit in with the beauty standards. Bunny, we've got a girl that's a little bit lost, wants so desperately to fit in with the popular girls of her class, ends up in a cult in both books, and I'm just like, Bunny did it well. Bunny was good. This doesn't have enough of the weirdness. It doesn't push the boundaries enough. It does a lot questioning on the beauty standards, and if that's what you want, this is what this book is going to give you. I think it's a really good thing to do, to call out, question beauty standards and like the things that we're taught to believe and stuff. But I've never bought into that in the first place. Like, I've never cared enough, which then makes me a little bit concerned, because on my Kindle I do have, is it Natural Beauty? Yeah, so Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huan, and I'm now really concerned because this is also a book that's along that similar vein to Rouge, so I'm a little bit concerned. To anyone that's read both Rouge and Natural Beauty, let me know what you think. I mean, I'm not too worried because I only paid 99 pence for the Kindle. It was one of their Kindle deals, so I'm okay with it. If I don't read it, I'm a little bit concerned. Like, I bought into it because, again, this was one that was getting really hyped up. Loads of people were singing its praises and stuff, but now that I've read Rouge and I've realised I don't particularly like this in a book, I'm a little bit concerned. Unless, of course, it gets a lot weirder and darker than what Rouge has done, in which case, yes, I will read it. But this, it just needed more. Like, the jellyfish, interesting. The cult, interesting. Didn't have enough of that. I need the book to be like 80% about that, and then 20% the other drama and like the other stuff. We're not getting that, and that's where I'm struggling with this one. So yeah, this is a DNF from me. Is it my first DNF or my second DNF of the month? I don't know, actually. Thankfully, on better news, I've continued with Victorian Psycho. I'm almost done. I'm up to part 2. We're on page 101 and I'm loving this. This is so good. Oh, this is fantastic. It has carried on with all the things that I was saying yesterday that is just so freaking good. Just with the addition of, I don't think we can trust a single thing that's happening here. Is this actually happening, or is it all just in her head and it's like, this is what she wants to do, but is she actually going to do it? I don't know, but it It is wild, and I'm loving this. I also tabbed a couple of things. I had a moment last night where I was like, I really just want to go back over everything I've read and just tab everything. At that point, I would just be rereading the whole book because there are so many things that I would tab, so many moments that are just unhinged, craziness, like what the hell was this behavior kind of stuff. And 100% I want to do that. However, I'm so close to the end that I might as well just do that when I reread it. But I did tab a couple of things because I was just so excited, because there are 2 references to 2 gothic horror books, and I love it because I love both of these gothic horror books, and I'm not going to say what they are or even what the quotes are and stuff, but they happened and I loved it. I loved how it was a direct link to those gothic books, and I was like, yes, loved this. And then I also just tabbed something like just something I loved because I just thought that was so good. This is vivid, it's gory, it's gross, and I am loving it. I am loving how unhinged this is. This is what I mean. This is what I want Rouge to do. This is unhinged. Rouge is not unhinged. Rouge is going on the safe side of things, and I'm like, no, I know that you can push it. You did with Bunny. Why are we not doing it with this? We're going to move on from that. This book is doing it. This book is going so well, and I cannot wait to finish this out. I'm going to be finishing this tonight. It is so easy to read. I am so invested. This is honestly, I think if it carries on this way, it could even be a 5-star. I'm really liking this book. Some of the things that were happening, like I had to put it down because I needed to sleep, but like I wanted to just keep going. I was just like, the ending of part 1, I was like, go, what? Yes, that's what I want. And this is delivered. So I'm very happy with this. This is going amazingly well. The only problem that I have is I don't know if I've read enough of Rouge to count it for the Amazing Readathon now. So I guess I'll see. I'll have to look up the rules on the DNF. I think you need to get to 50%, and I'm not there. I'm at 43, and even the 43, that was with me like skim reading. So I don't think that's gonna work. So I think I might just pick up a manga, quickly read that, fulfill the prompt, and move on, because this doesn't work. And I feel like there's already gonna be a prompt. So we've got power-up cards. I've got one left where I can use a book and just use it for anything regardless of the prompt, and I don't want to use it on this one because I think I'm gonna have to use that a bit later on anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna stick with my plan of doing this for a sightseeing prompt. So I'm gonna quickly read a manga, get that finished this evening, and then, which you're not gonna hear about in this video because we're not doing that. This is all the books that Lexie's chosen for me, and then we're gonna finish out this, and then I'll come in to say what this is. So because I'm planning to finish this tonight, that means tomorrow at work I will be taking Knock Knock Open Wide with me, and I'm expecting to really like this one. Although I am kind of terrified because that font is absolutely tiny, but I think this is going to be really easy. Like, this looks like a massive book. Is it? It's not really. 320-ish pages, and this book is based around Irish folklore. So let me just give you the overview of the book now. Should I actually? Oh no, should I? I'll just wait until I've started it and then I can give you my thoughts. But all I really know about this is that it's based on Irish folklore. That's it. That's all I know. So I very much am intrigued, being part Irish myself, very intrigued by that. Like, Scottish and Irish folklore, 2 buzzwords for me that I'm just gonna be like, yes, if you are darker book, gothic book, fairy tale thing inspired by Irish or Scottish folklore, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be invested. And the fact that this is, I'm expecting to really like it. I've heard really good reviews about this one, so yeah, cannot wait to get into this. Hopefully Rouge is going to be the only miss that we've had. Oh wait, okay, that's something I forgot. So when I was tabbing about the fact that this had a direct link to 2 gothic books that I absolutely love, remembered that I didn't tell you in the update yesterday when I was reading The Eyes Are the Best Part, there is a direct link to Macbeth. To Lady Macbeth. There is a whole scene that happens that is straight out of Macbeth by Shakespeare, and I loved that. That was really good, and remembering about that does make me want to give that book definitely a 4.25. I think on Storygraph it's still sitting at a 4, but I did really enjoy that. And then oh no! Wow. Okay, I've just put things together, like the ending of that book, the connection with Macbeth. What? That was clever. That was very clever. Why is it taking me this long to get to it? Probably because this is week 3 of me being on early shifts. 3 weeks in a row of having to be up at 5 AM for work. I am dying. I'm so over it. So yeah, I think I missed, but that, see, now knowing that, I really want to reread that book. Now I know that. Yeah, 100% 4.25, could possibly go up to a 4.5 on reread. Really, ooh. That was a good connection. Oh, I enjoy that. See, this is why I like horror, because I love my gothic classics. Like, I do. I really do love them. I don't talk about them enough. I haven't read them in ages, but I love them. Like, that was my first love of reading, is gothic classics, vampires, things like that. That was my first love. Well, okay, The Warrior Cats doesn't count to that, which is a really cute middle grade series about cat. My actual, like, full-on, I can read anything to do with that is gothic, and when it's linked, and like modern day books when they're linked to gothic classics. And so seeing that connection in The Eyes of the Best Part is definitely something that makes me love it that much more, just because of that. And there's also like, when I read that bit in here about linking back to the 2 gothic books, I was like, love it. Love it. This is amazing. That's amazing. And that was when it went from being like a 4.25, 4.5 to, oh no, this could be 5 stars. I love that connection. I love where we're going with this. I love the inspirations that have been taken. Like, that's what did it. I don't know why. Okay, it just is. But right, okay, I have a whole other video to film, and I've already been talking for long enough, and I need to sort my hair out properly for that video, and we're gonna go sort it out. I will probably update again tomorrow, and I'm just loving this, okay? These are going well. We're going to ignore Rouge. That was like a one-off. The rest of this is going to go amazingly well. The ending of this is going to be amazing. Been chatting away, talking about the book that I finished. It is very hot today, and yes, I'm in a long sleeve top, but this is really thin, so it's not actually that bad, and I'd rather keep the sun off me when I'm going out, but that's beside the point. I'm chatting away at everything, didn't even press record. I'm like, this is not the day to be doing that on because it is too hot. But right, okay, let's just re-say everything I said, which is I loved this book. I finished it, 4.75s. It is utterly unhinged. This is very much a supporting women's wrong, but also it's so extreme. I liked the reasoning behind what was going on. I also think there could be an argument made for the end of the book with this being a potential different way. I don't think it's as strong a theory as this actually being Winifred. However, I think there's just enough at the end of this book that I'm like, interesting. This could be a thing. And again, I'm not going to go into spoilers because, you know, that's right at the end of the book and that would just ruin it. But I really enjoyed this one. I liked that I couldn't trust Winifred. I liked how often she was talking about how, has this actually happened? Like, I don't know. You know you cannot trust this person. You know you cannot trust a single thing that is being said, and I kind of loved it for that. I did love the crossover with different classics that were being like kind of like little droplets here and there put in of them, and yeah, it was just great. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really well done and just something that I'm really pleased that I read. I just thought it was fantastic. Like, this is the sort of horror book that I really like. This is very fast paced. It kind of reminds me a little bit like some of the other unhinged female main characters that I've been reading. So things like The Cat Bride, The Lamb, The Eyes of the Best Part. Like, we've got those unhinged female main characters, but where this is such a short book, it is short and snappy and fast paced, and I kind of still love it for that. I like the writing style. It took me a minute to get used to it, but once I was used to it, I found it quite sarcastic, dry humor. It really worked for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was just a really entertaining, unhinged time, and if that's what you want, give this one a try. It is a wild ride and I loved it for that. Something still not quite giving me that full 5-star energy. I think maybe if this book had been a little bit longer, maybe if some of the reveals that we'd had in this book were explored that little bit more, it would have got the full 5 stars. But I really enjoyed this one and I can definitely see myself rereading it. So this was brilliant. I loved this one. I have started Knock Knock Open Wide. Now I did mean to update before I got halfway through, but I'm too invested. I am loving this one. So I am up to page 167. Now this is broken up into chapters, but they're not chapter numbers. Instead it's by chapter years. We do have 2 timelines going on in this book. The first timeline we meet is in the past in 1979. We're following Etienne, and Etienne ends up going to this party that her sisters throw in. On her way back home to Dublin, she gets sidetracked. She finds this body in the middle of the road. She decides to stop and help, takes it to this farmhouse, and all hell breaks loose. She refuses to speak about what happened from that night. All we know is that she went missing for a few days and vile things happen. Then we have the more present day timeline. We're following this girl called Betty, and honestly for a minute I was a bit confused on who Betty is in the narrative of this. Like, I thought she was one person, turns out she's somebody else. But she falls in love with this girl called Aislinn, and Aislinn's family history is interesting to say the least. And Betty starts taking a course in Irish folklore. We start hearing about all these different tales of changelings and things like this, and the story progresses from there. This is the sort of pacing that I like for my horror books. I think Victorian Psycho's very fast paced, but this one is a little bit slower. You really get to know the characters, you really get to feel for them, and I think the creeping sense of mystery and dread and what happened in that older timeline is just ever present, and I really like that, and I can tell it is building to something in this book. At the minute things are just kind of like touched upon and then moved past and things like this, so there's nothing really explicit happening just yet. Betty and Aislinn start having this relationship, but Aislinn starts pushing Betty away, and we start to see why, and that's something I like. So we initially get just Etienne and Betty's perspective, then as the story progresses we start getting Aislinn's perspective, and it just ends up having a really interesting light, and it is all kind of connected to this children's show that is kind of eerie and unsettling as well, but you just don't know how all of this is gonna like tie back in together, and I think it works. Like, I'm really enjoying the writing style of this, I'm enjoying the folklore that's woven through, I'm just really enjoying this slow creeping sense of dread that is just building, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen at the end of this book. There are certain theories that I've got about Etienne, certain things that have happened that I'm like, maybe they're behind these things, but nothing has been explicitly said yet, so I'm really intrigued to see what is going on. And yeah, I have really high hopes. I think currently this is sitting at like a 4.25. I really like it, I like the writing style, but I do think it has potential to go higher, especially depending on how that tension actually reaches, like what is that peak gonna be, and if it's a satisfying peak and it really builds in a really good way, then yes, this can easily get higher. So yeah, so far fantastic. I'm really loving this. I'm just really enjoying how the majority of these books I have just been enjoying. Like, I've had 4.25 with The Eyes Are the Best Part, I've had a 4.75 with Victorian Psycho, 1 DNF, but this one's also sitting at 4.25, so I feel like overall we've had a really good strong book recommendations in this video, and I'm just loving it. It just goes to show how much I'm enjoying horror. I'm also enjoying exploring the different types that I'm liking. I don't like it when it's heavier on the literary side, which I would say Rouge is, which, you know, is fine. I definitely think there is obviously an audience for it, it's just maybe not my kind of thing, but I'm enjoying still exploring what I do like with horror, and this is ticking the boxes as well, so I'm really enjoying it. I'm really intrigued to see how much more of an emphasis that Irish folklore is going to have in this. Like, there was one scene where Betty is going to talk to someone who is 103 years old to get a verbal recounting of this folklore story, and she has to do it for her college credit. When she's there, the tale that you get is really good. There's lots of like subtext there, which I like. There's lots of things where you could really pull apart, especially to do with the storyline. I feel like we're definitely going to come back to the story that was told just because of the way it all left off. Things that were insinuated around around Ashlyn. I enjoyed that. And then there was like this one thing where Betty then goes outside. She goes outside and then she touches this grass and this whole experience happens, and then you hear what that's about. I'm just really enjoying it. I'm enjoying those little added elements, but I'm really hoping it pushes and goes a little bit further in terms of the tension, in terms of the horror aspects and the things that are going on. I really want it to get more into that. I think the slow build up that we've had works. The creeping sense of dread works. And now I really need this second half to really ramp it up. And if it does that, perfect. If it stays at this, I think I'll still like it, but I don't think it will be as memorable as some of the other horror books that I have read, but it will still be one that I've enjoyed. So we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. I'm enjoying it. I think this has been a really satisfying reading vlog. Like, I've really enjoyed it. And even with the one DNF, like, I'm still very happy with it because I learned something about myself in terms of the things that I want to read. Yeah, this video has been doing great. I'm very happy with it, but as I said, I do have editing and things to get on with today. I had hoped to film my July TBR, but I also need to do some food shopping and I also need to edit, and there's just, why do I go on as if you need to know what my day's going on like? But there we are, you know the plans for my day off. But yeah, I will probably just check back in when I've finished this one because I don't have long left and I am really enjoying this one. Like, I can just sit there and read it so easily. I've got like 160 pages left to go. This is not going to take me long at all because I'm really finding it very readable. All I want to do is sit down and continue reading, and I really wanted to do that last night, but I was like, I need to make sure I do an update, otherwise I'm going to finish this whole book, only give you the one update for it. Just grabbed my attention. I'm so intrigued with what's going on with this children's show. I'm intrigued. So yeah, so I really cannot wait to get back to this one. Will definitely just let you know when I finished it. But yes, as I said, do have a few things I need to get on with today. I will check back in probably tomorrow, maybe, when I finish the book. It is sweltering today. Oh my god, it is like 32 degrees here in London. 32 degrees Celsius, by the way. I think that's like 80 something, I don't know. I just know that wherever Leandra is right now, it's around the same temperature, and a few other people, they're all chatting in the Discord readathon chat because we are about to start the Relax and Readathon. But I'm gonna wrap up this video first, and yeah, it is hot and everyone is just melting, so let's just try and get through this. I have finished Knock Knock Open Wide, and this was really good. Okay, I did really enjoy this. However, it's not a 5-star. And the reason why it's not got that 5-star feeling from me is just to do with the pacing. So the actual plot line, the storyline to everything, like I really enjoyed this one. I think the way it tied in the Irish folklore was really good. I thought even the ending itself was good. It's just unfortunate that the pacing was just not great for me. It's not that it wasn't good, it was that the ending was too fast, because we spend about 80% of this book going at this quite nice, almost slow to medium pacing level, and we really get a feel for our different characters. We really get to connect to them. We get to see Betty and Ashlyn's relationship blossoming, the different troubles and struggles that they have with it, and I feel like it really depicts what a relationship is like. I actually felt quite believable. Like, there were problems, there were difficulties. Ashlyn has certain difficulties and stuff that kept making her want to push Betty away. And then of course you've got that difficult relationship between Ashlyn and Etienne. And so I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the horror aspect and everything it was building to, and how the children's program was connected, and I was enjoying all of that. However, we then get towards the last bit and things just speed up so much, and I do understand why, and what happened was very good and I enjoyed that, but I also just felt like it was a bit rushed. I feel like we could have like slowed down just a little bit and still had the same impact, but it kind of lost me a little bit just because of how fast it went. Not because of what was happening, but just how quickly we breezed past what was going on. And so that it just made me feel a little bit disconnected at the end, which is when you want to be the most invested. So I did say how this book really needed to deliver on that horror aspect, really going into it because of all the build up and stuff that we had. And yes, it does do that. However, it did it too fast, so I couldn't appreciate everything that was going on, and that's where I feel like I was just a little bit let down with this one. I still like it. I'm still giving it a 4.25. This is one I will reread. This is one I'm happy that I read. It's just that pacing right at the end, like the things that were happening, excellent, loved it. I thought it worked so well with the story. There is a couple of things that was left untied in my opinion, and things to do with Etienne, her mum, and just little things that were hinted at that we never actually got a completion on. And I don't know whether it's intentionally left open, which is fair enough, or whether we should have had a bit more of a conclusion to it. And you know, if it's left open for the reader to determine, that's absolutely fine, but I just feel like I was missing just that little something around her story, certain things that had happened, and then the ending. I just feel like the conclusion was rushed. I feel like we could have had an extra 30 to 40 pages and I would have loved it. As a result, it's given the 4.25, but I did really enjoy this one. Like, I don't want to put anyone off with that because I do think it's good. Like, if you are interested in a folklore horror story, then yes, give this one a try. I have put this in for the Amazing Readathon. I've done this as a sightseeing prompt, and I did it for, I think it was one of the first ones. I think the very first place we ended up at. Maybe. The idea of the sightseeing ones is you could go back to that place as many times as you want and you're just accumulating points, obviously using different books. So I just wanted to make sure I was getting the full amount of points because obviously this is a longer book. I want to be getting the full points that I can. I mean, I was already getting the LGBTQ plus bonus points, but I wanted the full amount that I could get from the sightseeing, and the only one this fitted for was read a book that a host gave 5 stars. So I did a bit of digging, and it turns out that Lexie did actually give this one 5 stars. So that worked perfectly, and Lexie, as we know, is my co-host for the Still Watchers, so that worked perfectly for this. Let's just recap everything we've done in this video because I think it's gone so well. Do you know what? I'm genuinely terrified because what if I've really enjoyed all these, well, apart from one, what if Lexie doesn't like the books I gave her? I'm kind of scared, but okay, right. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on what we started off with. So I started off the video reading The Eyes Are the Best Part, and I loved this. This was really good. This is another one where a couple of things I feel like could have been done a little bit differently to get that full 5-star feeling from me. As it is, 4.25, really love the connections to Macbeth and that realization that I made. You can see why it's been praised so much, so really happy with that book and really pleased it was recommended for me. And of course this one was also done for, this was done for the prompt of reading a cozy comfort book in the Shire. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's not cozy or comforting, but I put it in for the prompt, so that's what we did for the Amazing Readathon. Then I DNF'd Rouge, which is a shame, but it just wasn't for me. Unfortunately, it's just one of those ones where I'm like, it had all the potential, but I just could not get invested in it, so DNF. And then we have Victorian Psycho, which was our buddy read and ended up being my favourite book out of this video. Really liked it, and I think this is what I mean by the pacing, because this is quite fast paced, but it keeps that pacing all the way through to the end. This one, it's slower, so I want an ending, like it can end ambiguously, I don't mind that. It's just I don't want it super rushed, and I feel like the ending, it was super rushed, and I was reading it like, wait, what just happened? Almost like jumping around, which I didn't like because it wasn't consistent throughout the whole book. Back to this one, loved it, keep thinking about it, think it is really good, really happy with my 4.75 rating. Yeah, if you want Unhinged, please just read it. It's great, I love it. Still can't decide how what happened on that ending, what do I believe and stuff, like I just think it was great. And then of course ending up with Not Lock Open Wide being a 4.25. So this has been a really successful reading vlog. Like, yes, we had one DNF, but you know what, that's been my only DNF DNF this whole month. So I'm having a really successful reading month so far, and just this vlog alone has given me 3 books that are over 4 stars, reinforcing the fact that I am in my horror era and I am loving it here. So, you know, this is great. But I just want to say a massive thank you to Lexie for inviting me to be a part of this, and yeah, this was great. This was so much fun, and thank you for all the recommendations. Like, brilliant. Such good recommendations. And okay, yes, I did look, because I really wanted to make sure that the one I DNF'd wasn't one that Lexie loved. Like, I would have felt really bad, but thankfully it's not. So the 2 that she loved that she gave me was Knock Knock Open Wide and The Eyes Are the Best Part, and the one that she didn't like was Rouge. So we matched, and I love that. I genuinely I'm terrified to see if we match with my recommendations. Like, I don't know if anyone feels that way, but when you recommend someone a book, there is always that nervousness of like, oh god, what if they hate it? Because it's like, it's fine if they don't like a book that I've loved, like that's fine. I just don't want to disappoint them by giving them bad recommendations. Oh, it's a whole thing. It's been a stressful thing this year because I've had that all going on with Battle of the Booktuber, which you are going to be seeing very, very soon. It's stressful. Anyway, right, I am finishing this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know if you've read any of these books and what you've rated them, or what horror book would you recommend me to read, or things like that, you know. Let me know in the comments below. If you've made it this far, I think we're definitely just gonna have to put like a knife emoji or blood or something, you know. There's been a lot of blood and gore and stuff in these books, so you know, put something like that in the comments below if you've made it this far or just don't know what to comment. And yes, a big thank you to everyone that takes the time to watch these videos. I truly appreciate all of your support, and an extra special thank you to my Patreons. And just it's been amazing. I always say it, but I've got plans, I've got things I want to do, things that are going to be being put into motion within the next month or so. So if you're interested in what I have to offer, then always feel free to have a look, but there is no pressure. Okay, if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. I will have my social media links, anyone I've mentioned, Discord, Patreon, everything will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.